Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Today we got to talk about AI and the disruptiveness of AI and how I've been thinking about it lately. And I think this would be beneficial for you to see my perspective. So, everyone's worried about AI. Everyone thinks, oh, it's going to take away the jobs, blah, blah, blah. They don't want to think about it because it's going to take away their jobs. That's what their biggest worry is. But I'm here to tell you that there's it's not going to be that dark. It's going to be much brighter than you think. It's in my perspective is that it's going to be just like every other technology that's come before, whether it's agriculture, farming, industrial revolution, cars, the internet, even the nuclear bomb, right? See, the nuclear bomb was seen as this disruptive technology that was really bad because it was going to end the world. Everyone, we're going to blow up the world. But in fact, because it was so powerful, it almost stopped wars altogether because it's an end-all device, right? So nobody is going to use it because they know that as soon as they do one, the enemy's going to do one. It's mutual destruction. So it's just fascinating how whenever new technology comes along, our first inclination, our first instinct is to defend against it and defend the old ways of doing things. But I think you're going to find that down the road, AI is going to be massively, massively beneficial. And so I have this quick little clip we're going to jump into, and they kind of, dabble into this idea and show this perspective. And then I'm going to have my own comments afterwards. So let's jump right in.
Radically better software to the end user, which causes end users to want a lot more software, which causes actually the price of development to rise.
If you just think about like a simple case like travel, like, okay, booking a trip through Expedia is like complicated. You're likely to get it wrong. You're clicking on menus and this and that and the other. And like, An AI version of that would be like, send me to Paris, put me in a hotel I love at the best price, send me on the best possible kind of airline ticket. And then, make it like really special for me. And like, maybe you need a human to go, okay, like we're going to, or maybe the AI gets more complicated and says, okay, well, we know this person loves chocolate and we're going to FedEx in the best chocolate in the world from Switzerland into this hotel in Paris and this and that and the other. And so like the quality, the quality could get to levels that we can't even imagine today, just because the software tools aren't what they're going to be. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I kind of buy that actually. I think I buy the argument. You're both nice.
How about or how about I'm going to land in Boston at 6:00. I want to have dinner at 7 with a table full of like super interesting people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Like
yeah.
No travel agent would do that for you today, nor would you want them to.
Yeah,
no.
Right. Well, and then you think about it, it's got to be integrated into my personal AI and this, there's just like unlimited kind of ideas that you can do. And I think this is one of the kind of things that's always been underestimated about humans is like our ability to come up with new things we need. Like that has been unlimited. And there's a very kind of famous case where John Maynard Keynes, who's the kind of prominent economist in the kind of first half of last century, had this thing that he predicted, which is like nobody, because of automation, nobody would ever work a 40-hour work week, because once their needs were met, needs being like shelter and food, and, I don't even know if transportation was in there. Like that was it. It was over. And like, you would never work past the need for shelter and food. Like, why would you? Like, there's no reason to. But of course, needs expanded. So then everybody needed a refrigerator. Everybody needed not just one car, but a car for everybody in the family. Everybody needed a television set. Everybody needed like glorious vacations. Everybody, So what are we going to need next? I'm quite sure that I can't imagine it, but like somebody's going to imagine it, and it's quickly going to become a need.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, as Keynes famously said, it was his essay, I think, was Economic Prospects for Our Grandchildren, which was basically that.
Yeah.
What you just articulated. So Karl Marx had another version of that. I just pulled up the quote. So society, when the Marxist utopia socialism is achieved, society regulates the general production. Thus makes it possible for me to do blah blah blah. To hunt this is a quote. To hunt in the morning, fish in the afternoon, rear cattle in the evening, criticize after dinner.
What a glorious life!
What a glorious life! Like if I could just list 4 things.
So that's the clip I had, and pretty much the idea they're trying to explain is that, whenever there's a new technology that comes along, it always leads us and frees our time and our energy and our resources. Our most valuable resource is ourselves, is our mind. It frees our mind up to do new things and come up with new creative activities and endeavors to spend our time on. Okay, so instead of spending your time all day farming, none of us spend our day farming. Machines do all of that. Yeah, some people do it, but one person spending their entire day farming, they're feeding thousands, tens of thousands of people with all their equipment and all their technology. So, with every new technology comes a freeing up of our time and energy for new activities, new things that we haven't even we can't even imagine. So, I wrote down right here, technology does jobs we never knew existed while unleashing creativity for humans to do jobs we never dreamed of. So not only will technology and does technology do jobs that already existed, the old jobs, takes away our jobs, but it also does jobs we never even knew were going to exist. All right? So let's say cleaning up litter on the side of the road or at like some, property. Now you might have 10, 15 robots that all they do is spend their entire days just clean up trash constantly, little tiny things. So we're going to live in this world that's extremely clean, extremely good for the environment, because we would never pay a human to, maybe we'll have one human cleaning the whole property, but now if you have 10, 15, 20 robots that are just always cleaning, you see, we would never hire 10, 15 humans to clean this one property, let's say, but now we can do it because you have a robot. And eventually the cost of the robot comes down to like nothing. So this is what I mean when I say technology does jobs we never even knew existed, while unleashing the creativity for humans to do jobs we never dreamed of. And once all our needs are met, human behavior will breed new needs. We'll come up with new needs. So earlier on in that video, his first example he had was, he says to ChatGPT, book me a trip to Switzerland, whatever, and make it the best experience ever. And then ChatGPT knows that they love this certain chocolate, and so then they fly in this chocolate. They FedEx over some chocolate from wherever, and you think like, oh, this is like just some billionaire. No, what if that becomes everybody's reality, right? Just like it used to be only a billionaire was eating, or not a billionaire, but only the kings and queens were eating meat and fruits. Okay, everybody else was eating wheat and grains and rice, pastas. But always the kings, they're always eating the grapes, and they have the nice fat pig. But now everybody eats meat and everybody gets fruits. I go to the grocery store and there's just a massive abundance, unlimited amounts of food I could eat all day. Okay, so we never dreamed of the way things are going to be. People used to die from the craziest sicknesses just 100, 150 years ago. That's nothing. That's a blip in time. So imagine what AI is going to be able to do for us in 10 years, 20 years. Imagine what it's going to free up for our creativity. So another thing that I was thinking was, what happens to, I was like, because the first thing people think of when they think of humanoid robots is, oh, the humanoid robot, it's going to replace the job at McDonald's or whatever. And you're not going to have a McDonald's worker. They're not going to have a job. And so I was thinking about it, and then I forget where I was, but someone reminded me and said something about cooking. I was watching a podcast, and they were talking about, the robots just cooking in your kitchen. And I was like, oh my goodness. Everyone's going to start using their kitchens again. You see, nobody uses the kitchen right now. It's extremely underutilized compared to, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But now with DoorDash and all these, food delivery systems we have, the convenience, people love convenience, right? Well, what's more convenient than having to do DoorDash, than having to go to Chipotle, than having to go, you know, to this public area and pick up your food, and it's like okay food, but it's cheap, but and it's convenient. You didn't have to go to the grocery store, you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean. There's a lot that goes into cooking in your house. So a lot much more time, energy goes into cooking in your house than eating Chipotle. Let me just order Chipotle. It's $15, whatever, $20. But now if you have a humanoid robot, you're going to have the gourmet, the best made Chipotle whatever meal in your house every day, all the time. You're never going to go to Chipotle. So then what happens to Chipotle, who just got rid of all their employees and replaced all their employees with these humanoid robots? Well, I'm going to have my own humanoid robot in my kitchen making food for me. And I'm going to have my own humanoid robot getting the food from the grocery store. So I'm not going to have to get the food. I'm not going to have to cook the food. I'm not even going to learn how to cook the food. The robot's going to watch food TV and see the lady cooking the food, teaching how to make this crazy dish. And then the robot's just going to make the dish for me. I'm just going to tell the robot, just like ChatGPT, I'm going to say, make me a Korean dish tonight. I want some Korean type of food. And then the robot's just going to figure it out instantly. It's going to make the meal, and it's going to clean for you afterwards. So you're not going to do anything. And it's going to get so crazy that it's going to do it while you're sleeping. So your robot's going to be like meal prepping for you while you're sleeping. So it's all going to be done while you're sleeping. You're going to wake up. You're going to have perfect breakfast. Lunchtime comes. You're going to have perfect lunch. Dinner comes. You're going to have perfect dinner. So then in my head, I'm like, the utilization of kitchens is going to go through the roof, and McDonald's is gone. Chipotle's gone. So the point is that I can't even continue to fathom how, especially a humanoid robot, would change the world. Because at first I was thinking, oh yeah, the robot's going to be at McDonald's and it's going to make the McDonald's meal really cheap. But I didn't even think no, the robot's just going to be in my kitchen making the food that's way fresher, way better, way healthier. I mean, what happens to all these fast food chains, all these restaurants? And then I came back to this thought, and I saw it in another podcast, which is that the things that are going to stay the same is always the quality. So look at cars, for example. Now, this Rolls Royce, it's handmade, it's handcrafted. All cars used to be handcrafted. And then Henry Ford came along and made the Model T, which was on the assembly line, and it wasn't handmade. It was assembled by the assembly line, right? And then you had more automation. Now all the vehicles are automated. It's way cheaper. But then the quality of a handmade vehicle is a Rolls Royce. So then a restaurant, you might have the 5-star, the high-end restaurants continue to thrive and survive, the ones that give that ultimate experience. So quality always seems to stick around when a disruptive technology changes how something is. But another little thing, last quick point I had was this, right here. So this is what an S-curve looks like, right? This is what an S-curve looks like. You just have that massive exponential move up, and then it plateaus. But what's happening with AI, ChatGPT, LLMs, whatever you want to call it, and eventually humanoid robots, when you take the LLM and you put it on top of a humanoid robot, that's when it's going to be game over. That's my prediction. You're having disruptions on disruptions. You're having S-curves eating S-curves faster than ever right now. And this is why they're having these discussions about a one-man billion-dollar company. This idea that billion-dollar businesses are being created and generated with one person. And then what happens with that type of business though? It's really shallow. It's really penetrable. Another person can come along and make a very similar business and charge half the price you're charging, and your S curve just got destroyed. Right? And then they're offering that product, which is then creating a bunch of more efficiencies, right? Because it's creating all this value in the market. And then somebody else comes along and they say, no, there's a better way to do that than that way. So right now you're seeing it with the LLMs and like the chat GPTs, where LLMs are becoming commoditized in a sense. It's becoming a very cheap thing. It's like electricity, where it's not like only the rich and elite are get electricity. No, everybody has electricity. It doesn't really cost anything. I don't think about the cost. So, but we're in this weird moment where S curves are eating S curves at a crazy rate right now. Companies don't even have time to get to product. They're in the planning phase of creating their product, and by the time they get to the product, somebody's already disrupted that technology. So then you get another S curve on the previous S curve, and that makes your last S curve look like nothing. And then that S curve is getting eaten up by another S curve, which is making your last two S curves look like nothing. And then you're getting another S curve on that S curve. You see, this is what happens with disruptive technology, which is making all these other S curves look like nothing. So this is the situation that we're in with ChatGPT right now and AI in a sense. Oh, I even think I had another one, yeah. So I had an even bigger one. So that's kind of, what we're looking like, if you want to picture it. But that's what I got for you guys. I just had to ramble for a little bit and talk about AI and what's been on my mind when it comes to this stuff. But don't worry. You're going to lose your job, but you're going to find something better to do. Don't worry. I'm not worried. I'm not worried for you. So stay healthy, stay wealthy. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you want to see more. YouTube's the only way you're going to see my videos is if you subscribe and you like, hit the bell. Peace.